What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Check the Kick. Sherdog.com is a website. I'm the host, Devin, and we are back off of a really good weekend of fights. International Fight Week went by. Really cool fights on the card, like stuff from the curtain jerker, the Hines and Denise fight. By the way, Denise has a fight on a hot air balloon. Like, Google that shit. He literally fought on a hot air balloon. The highest fight ever, not including John Jones or Nick or Nate Diaz. Jacoby Smith looked pretty good as the biggest favorite ever. Didn't look like the biggest favorite in UFC history, but he was one, and he won. Beat Nico Price. Terrence McKinney went out there and just ran through Borshov. Beat up Slavakos. Tracy Cortez had a pretty good win. Jose Delgado freaking destroyed Hyder Emil and took his undefeated record. That was pretty cool. If there was more time on this show and I could just talk about MMA for 3 hours, I would spend a lot of time talking about Herb Dean and his inability to sprint across the cage and stop someone from dying. Hobocop literally killed Jack Hermanson in an incredible first round knockout, smelling salts, medical update type shit. A lot of people are going to give him crap for the punch, the final blow of the fight that was somewhat delayed, but literally that's Herb Dean's fault. You could ask Derek Lewis about that and ask Curtis Blades about that. But dude, if you are a police officer and you do not have the ability to physically detain a subject, a criminal, or you can't physically catch them on the feet. Yeah, some people are super athletic and they're going to outrun every random person. But and I think that's where Herb's at right now, where he just does so many shows and physically he's not as young as he used to be. But if you cannot get across that octagon and stop a fight from happening, someone's going to get real hurt. The way that Jack Hermanson fell on the back of his head, hit the canvas, that was just insane. So Herb, dude, get with the program, homie. You can't be officiating these fights if you don't have the physical capabilities to take a couple fast steps. And, I'm just about to be in my mid-30s, and I feel like I could probably do that, but I definitely know that I wouldn't be able to be that fast and responsive at 55 or however old Herb is. I don't think he's in his 50s, but still. So get it together, Herb. The main card was just fun. Peyton Talbot pulled up and showed some incredible improvements. Benel Dariush came up and got hurt real bad in the first round and kind of beat Moicano up for the last two. That was really cool. I'm going to stop talking now because we're going to basically spend the rest of the show talking about the top 3 fights. So what we're going to do is we're going to just pause there. We're going to go straight into the main event. Out with the old. Ilia Topuria did exactly what he said he was going to do at 2 minutes and 27 seconds of the first round. He flatlined Charles Oliveira with a 2-punch combination, a right and then left hook. Alexander Volkanovski almost got blasted with the same quick combination, very different setup. We're going to talk about the setup. Excuse me, allergies. Fortunately for Volk, when he got crushed with the right hand, his body was falling so fast that the left hand missed. Charles Oliveira was just not falling fast enough, so the left hand kind of blasted him off the top side of his head in the temple area. Ilia Topuria is probably going to end up being one of the best 5 MMA fighters ever. And a dude we're going to talk about in 10 or 15 years. I was like, holy fuck, what that dude on his run, what he did was absolutely incredible. He's 17-0. Going into the pre-fight and all week, I saw a bunch of people on Twitter really honing in on the Jai Herbert fight. They're like, Jai Herbert, big 155er, was able to hurt Ilia Topuria. Charles Oliveira could do the same thing. And it's the only thing that they've got against this dude is Bryce Mitchell was able to take him down and he got hit with 1 head kick. Oh, well, what happened in those 2 fights? He fucking still killed those dudes. This Jai Herbert knockout might be the most violent one. This might be too. But it was just like, did you like, everybody going into the fight, including myself, was like, these odds are crazy. No, they weren't crazy. He looked like a minus 400 favorite against one of the best lightweights to ever do it, point blank, period. Charles Oliveira, for me, I've never been, I like Charles Oliveira, and I understand why people are fans of his, because he's like the true underdog. Like, but for me, when I watch a fighter, I'm like, well, Charles Oliveira makes a lot of mistakes. He gets touched up in a lot of fights, and against Ilia Topuria, this dude is clearly special. He came out and kind of like immediately stuck a hard jab on Oliveira. I really liked how Oliveira was like going to counter that jab with a leg kick. You know, Topuria does not check leg kicks very well. I think that may be like a third thing that somebody could have on him. Somebody on Twitter was posting something along the lines of, you know, a prime Frankie Edgar would beat Ilia Topuria. And I'm like, bruh, come on. Anyway, I'm not going to say the person's name number one because I don't remember it, but like, dude, I don't think there's many 155ers that have existed that I would be like, yeah, they're beating Ilia Topuria. And I'm like a Habib stan. And I love Islam Makhachev. And I'm not certain I'd give Habib a better shot because of his durability and his doggedness and his size and his wrestling. But like, I look at that Ilia Topuria fight with Dustin Poirier, and like, Dustin Poirier is an incredible boxer. Again, one of my favorite fighters as well. But like, if he's having that much success, if you give Topuria those same opportunities, he's probably getting these. Like, this is another dude where you cannot give this guy, you cannot have prolonged boxing exchanges with Ilia Topuria. And there's another guy that we're going to talk about that's just like that. But you cannot have prolonged boxing exchanges with this guy. It took like 3 exchanges on the feet where they both met in the pocket, and Charles Oliveira was literally left on his back, you know, talking to Ghost. He was gone. Charles Oliveira was going to meet him in the pocket, and he said it like we knew that Charles Oliveira was going to meet this dude in the pocket. He knew. And it just didn't matter. Like, Charles landed that one nice elbow, but then Ilia's like counter left hook split Charles' eye open in the first 20 seconds, and like that set the tempo. And then Charles Oliveira goes to shoot a takedown. He gets those double underhooks, pushes Ilia against the cage, shows like, hey, he's big and strong for this division. Charles is big and strong for this division. Ilia is able to reverse it. Charles tries to get a takedown. Ilia Topuria in kind of midair reverses that and gets his own takedown, gets his way into side mount, and then gets like mounted crucifix against Charles Oliveira. Has some side control, has some top control. Charles Oliveira goes for a leg in typical Charles Oliveira fashion. He's literally like the greatest submission artist in the UFC, one of them. Look at the numbers, they're there to you know, back that. Gets into a leg entanglement. He defends the leg locks, the heel hooks from, you know, there's like he's going for a heel hook. He's going for a heel hook. Gets out of that, and then, you know, just was like, okay, I'm just gonna kick this dude's legs over and over again until Goddard makes him stand back up. So he kicks the shit out of his legs, bang, 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 makes him stand back up. And then what he did was really, really nice. And and I compared him to Alex Pereira going into this fight, number one, based off the power, and number two, how they can use their boxing to set up their power. And I think Ilia was even better. I said Ilia was even probably better, and now I would say, yeah, he is probably better than Pereira, even at setting up his power. And the speed variance is like he boom, throws the first jab to the body at like 40-50% speed. This is the finishing sequence. And then he throws the next jab up through Oliveira's guard at like maybe 60% speed. Like tempo changes where he's like, throws to the body, like, you know, just lackadaisical, boom, very Alex Pereira fashion, will just pop people to the body. And then he popped through another cleaner jab, boom, right through Oliveira's guard. And then what he did after that is he kind of just shelled up and took 2 steps back. With those 2 steps back, that almost invited Charles Oliveira to pressure because he knew, oh, if I stick a jab on this dude, if I hit him once to the body, I hit him once to the head, he's going to come forward. Like, that's what Charles Oliveira does. He kind of just took 2 steps back and allowed Oliveira to re-enter boxing range. And then at that point, he just hit him with the fastest 2-punch combination, a right hook, left hook, and he absolutely buried him. Ilia Topuria in this fight showed that he has superior grappling to Charles Oliveira. Like I mean, in the takedown area on the mat, he was able to, keep up with him with his strength, show his, his ability to get from on top of Charles. And at the end, he did what was smart and just disengaged because, I'm sure he could have, potentially invited him there and stayed in full mount or in side guard. And maybe Charles was able to scramble out, but maybe he wanted to just plant there and be heavy and like land punches and elbows and grind him out. But like, that's not Ilia Topuria. That's not his game. Like, he knows that he can hurt. And I mean, I believe him. Like, I'm certain this dude could hurt every person from 145 to 155. I mean, we're going to talk about this, but I see people in the comments, they're making jokes. They're like, I've seen enough, give him Tom Aspinall, or I've seen enough, give him Francis Ngannou. This dude is 5'6" or 5'7", has moved up from 145 to 155, and people are literally jokingly comparing him to Francis Ngannou with the power that he has. Conor was a power puncher, but he was more of a whipping, accurate, long-range timing guy. And I would say Topuria has more volume than Conor did, and probably equal timing, but just not. Ilia Topuria is like 5'6" or 5'7" with a sub 70-inch reach. Like, Conor was a much taller, longer dude, and I think they both fight to their, they use what they're. Basically, what I'm saying is Topuria fights a pocket boxing game that's crafty with great timing and incredible power because that fits his body size. And, Conor fought a long, whippy counterpunching game because he's really tall and long, especially for 45. This dude could be a problem for a lot of people, and I don't know how long he's going to keep doing this. His biggest issue, or what's going to always like leave the door open for question, is his size. Like, if you look at Patty's literally, Charles is a huge fucking lightweight. Patty's even bigger. Like, somehow, some way, this dude's been like eating his Wheaties and shit, but like, he's becoming like the big. He may be the biggest lightweight in the division, and that may be the next match. Just I can't. When Topuria beat up Josh Emmett real bad, I texted one of my buddies, and I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be the dude that knocks out Volk. Like, this is gonna be the dude that stops the reign of Volk. And I stood like I called that happening months in advance, and I still didn't think he would show up and show out like this. Like, did I believe he'd be the first dude to like knock, drop, and kill Max Holloway? No. But like, now, dude, the sky's the limit with this guy. If he says it, I believe it, because the data shows that if he says it, that's what happens. Like, he literally had a celebration party before the fight even happened. He told Charles Oliveira that he's sorry that this is gonna that this was him, because he liked the guy. And fuck, I mean, I feel bad for Oliveira. I feel bad for anyone who has to sign up and fight this dude. I'm almost glad that Max got knocked out from him just so he doesn't have to fight him again. And I'm almost glad that Dustin Poirier is retiring. We're going to talk about the future of 155. I just think that this dude, sky's the limit for this kid. He's not even 30. He's 28, so he could do this for, probably 4 more years. Maybe 32. Imagine what this dude could accomplish then. Just Topuria, an incredible fighter, incredible power, and he's so well-rounded. He may be like one of the most what do they have offensively? Like, when I say well-rounded, like, he's got the jiu-jitsu, he's got the wrestling, he's got the striking. He puts it all together. He meshes it all together so very well. We're like, who's more well-rounded than this guy? Islam? Maybe not. I don't know. Problem that we have with Topuria is he's like knocking dudes' fucking lights out. With Islam is a dude that's much more willing to like mix his game. So we get to see different, facets of Islam's game, and we're like, wow, he is a great striker. But like Topuria's killing legends and crushing dudes. And yeah, we saw Islam kick Volk's head off. That was very impressive as well, even though it was on short notice. But yeah, I don't know. The sky's the limit for him, and I don't know who. Like, would Ilia Topuria be favored to beat this guy? I don't know. I'd place it at pick-em odds because I don't know who I'd pick now. Before this fight, I'm like, yeah, I'd probably lean Islam. Now I don't know. I might lean Ilia Topuria. And again, incredible performance from this dude, and I cannot wait to see what the future holds for him. I'm gonna kind of jump around segments a little bit this episode, because I want to talk about the future of 155. I think we need to talk about that. We need to talk about matchmaking. The division seems in a way more wide open than really ever. And after this weekend, like they brought Patty in the cage. We'll talk about that. And I'm just not sure I'm not sure who's next for Topuria. I'm not sure what, like, the next fight at. So in the next pay-per-view, we've got Dustin Poirier, this will be his retirement fight. I believe it's in Baton Rouge, and he'd be fighting Max Holloway in their third fight, rubber match, even though Poirier has won the first two. And I don't know if the winner of that, maybe, Dustin Poirier at one point said he'd love to fight Ilia Topuria, and if he can figure out a way to stop Max Holloway, I don't know if that's going to happen. But if he can figure out a way to knock out Max Holloway, or maybe like he clubs and subs Max Holloway, and maybe he feels super rejuvenated and he calls for a title fight, he might even deserve one at that point, because Max does have that win over Justin Gaethje. But I don't think if Max beats Dustin, he'll call for a title shot probably, but like I don't think he'll get it, and I don't want to see it, and I don't think any fans want to see it. I don't even know if Topuria would rematch Holloway. I think he'd rather fight someone else. They asked him about rematching Volk, and he said he doesn't want to do that. So lightweight is getting pretty interesting. The UFC did parade Patty down. He seemed surprised. They got into each other's faces. Topuria pushed Patty. That could totally be a fight they make, even though Patty only has the one Michael Chandler win. And I'm looking at the UFC rankings because this is where their matchmaking is going to come from. And our Sherdog rankings have other fighters from other organizations. But like Michael Chandler's ranked number 12. Patty Pimblett's ranked number 8. Above him, we have Gamrot, Hooker, Poirier, Holloway, Gaethje, Oliveira, Arman Tsarukyan, and for whatever reason, the UFC still has Islam Makhachev as the champ here. I guess they'll update their rankings tomorrow. When you got someone like Ilia Topuria that fucking just crushes Charles Oliveira and, can potentially an overnight star, and you still have Islam, like that to me is stupid. Like they should fix that. That should be updated immediately. I don't know why they can't just go in there and have someone fix that real quick. Whatever. And we've got Justin Gaethje saying he feels like he deserves a title shot and he's been a company man, and if he doesn't get one, he might retire. Dana's response was like, dude, if you feel like you're retiring, you should. I kind of agree, and dude, you got knocked out by Max when you beat Rafael Fiziev. Fiziev's a great fighter, but that doesn't earn you anything. So we're stuck in a weird place. And then, like, Dana came out and said that Arman Tsarukyan missed weight, even though it was like a back injury. So maybe there was some weird shit going on with that issue where he was supposed to fight Islam and Moicano had to step in. Moicano did just lose to Beneil Dariush, so that could mean something. I don't think it does. But yeah, at lightweight, things are just really skewed. There's really not a clear number one contender. I mean, it is Arman Tsarukyan, but at the same time, like, not if the UFC doesn't want him to be one. So I think we're in a position where Dricus du Plessis was doing an interview for UFC 319, and he seemed to have leaked the co-main event as Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett. I think that's very interesting. It's all over social media right now. I think we need title eliminators, and they need to happen in the next couple pay-per-views, because there's no way that the UFC is not going to want Ilia Topuria to probably fight one more time. It's June, fought at the end of June. Like, this dude could totally be on like the November card or a December card. The UFC would love to get this dude in probably one more time this year, and all of us want to see this dude fight one more time, I'm sure. They need to stop booing Ilia Topuria too, because he's killing your favorite fighters, and he killed one of mine in Max Holloway. But dude, it's like the, embrace it or it overtakes you type of thing with him. Like, he's destined to win these. Like, he's whatever. So I think we need to do some proper matchmaking, get these lightweights, kickstart this thing, get these fucking lightweights matched up. Let's get Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett. Let's get Arman Tsarukyan versus Dan Hooker. Like, let's make these fights happen. Gamrot just beat Ludovic Klein. I know he doesn't really, he did weigh in once as a backup. Maybe we can get like a Gamrot Arman Tsarukyan rematch in a 5-round main event in the Apex. Like, Justin Gaethje and Dan Hooker were supposed to fight, and Hooker's hands got all broken. Maybe they can redo Hooker versus Justin Gaethje. That could be great too. We just need to see something. We need to get some matchmaking doing. There's not really a clear, and throw Paddy in there. Maybe we could do like Paddy versus Hooker. Like, that would be good if it's not Justin Gaethje, or even Paddy versus Arman. There's so many different options. You can kind of just spin the Rubik's Cube and see what you get. But let's get some contenders in there, and let's get like a true number one contender for Paddy Pimblett. And with, the issues with Arman, I think Arman does, he's proven, but he's not really, he needs to prove himself in another main event, in my opinion. He needs to prove that he can show up and make weight. I think he's a plenty great fighter, and I feel like he could fight the 5-round fight and be totally fine. He's done it. But I want to see him make weight, no issues, and then call for a title fight. We're going to move on, and I'm going to kind of bundle the men's flyweight division all together, but I really want to talk about Pantoja because he deserves more than just like to be bundled, because he's incredible. But the featured fight and the co-main, those are in flyweight fights, and they have a lot to do with each other. So we're going to kind of talk about flyweights. Alexandre Pantoja took on Kai Kara-France and kind of just, I don't want to say shit kicked him, but just like cleanly beat him quite easily. First round, he just pushed him back against the cage, landed his good strikes, got his takedowns, and did what Pantoja does. For whatever reason, the commentary is like, he's gassed, he looks tired. Do they not know? Pantoja always looks tired, but he never really truly tires. Second round, he seemed to like take off, and then the third round, he went and just got on the pressure. The back take from this dude, the back take game in the choke is just incredible. The way he was able to elevate Kara-France and just like elevate him from behind in the air, like let him land into guard, sink in the body triangle. Like, Pantoja's really, really good. And he choked out Kai Kara-France, and he kind of did this with ease, I would say. He's 35 years old. Alexandre Pantoja's 35 doing this shit at flyweight. If you're a welterweight and you're like, he's 35, I'd be like, yeah, that's fine. I get it. Or a middleweight totally makes sense. Light heavyweight makes sense. Heavyweight, you have to be at least 35. So it just, like this dude is so good. He's getting better and better. And the legacy of Pantoja, I wish I could talk about this fight more, but it was just so one-sided, and it was just like the perfect Pantoja fight. And he's clearly improving. Like, we saw, he lost to like Dustin Ortiz back in the day. And now look at him. They have a similar opponent in Askar Askarov, and Askar was able to, beat Pantoja in a very close fight. And KKF had success like defending takedowns and stuff, but he had nothing. KKF had nothing in this fight. And I don't know how many more wins he needs to win to like be compared to to Demetrius Johnson, but like he's definitely the number 2 in my opinion at this point. He's getting better, and it's kind of scary. And he's at the age where, like, fuck, I wish that they could throw Demetrius a bone. Like, get us Mighty Mouse. That's what we need to see at this point. Maybe Horiguchi can do something if he can actually, I don't know, he's been training in Miami, so it's not a visa thing. I don't know what his pullout was. He was supposed to fight Tagir Ulanbekov, was it last weekend? Weekend before last. But that fell apart. So maybe that can happen. We do have a number 1 contender that was in the cage with him on Saturday night. But I just, okay, so he fights Josh Van. Like, what's next? Like, there's just, I mean, he's like truly lapping division. He needs way more pound for pound respect. I don't even want to look at what I have my phone here with the rankings up from UFC. I don't even want to know what they have them ranked at. It's just going to be fucking disrespectful. But they need to, I mean, this dude is, Pantoja is just as good as all the other dudes up there. Like, his loss, these are current pound for pound rankings. Like, look what he's doing to the flyweight division. He is just as good as Merab. He's just as good as like Topuria and these dudes, Indrikis and Islam. Like, get him up there. Like, he deserves to be. I believe he was like below Alex Pereira, who was not even a champ. Like, look what he's done. This guy's been doing this for a hot minute, and he's incredible. So put Pantoja up in the rankings. His legacy is, he's really starting to set it in stone. And fuck, if imagine he goes and wins 5 more fights. You'd have to like put him above DJ at that point. What if he wins 3 more? I don't know, maybe 2. He's killing it. He's 35. And the future of this division is clearly bright. We're going to move on and talk about the future of flyweight and kind of the fight of the year contender that just happened at UFC 317. Joshua Van and Brandon Royval fought their fucking asses off in like, pause this if you haven't seen this. If you're listening to this, I know you've seen it, but if you haven't, just go back and watch it. You can probably even find it online somewhere. You don't even have to have the pay-per-view. I'm sure you could dig that up. Royval and Van just had this incredible fight where Van was like counter-punching Royval as Royval kind of forced his way into the pocket with his volume. Normally when I talked about this fight, I did pick Joshua Van, but I thought it would look similar with just less potency from Royval. So Royval really, I mean, I called this his best performance. And when I say his best performance, I don't mean like his highest fight IQ, but more of like, this is just like the best. Like, this is his best fight for me when I like think about like entertainment and like what he did to just really fucking fight his ass off. Like, he, as a showman, like if you're a showman and you want to put on fun fights and put on shows, this was his best performance, boy, the volume with the jab from Royval, and then Joshua Van just being able to plant kind of, he'd eat the jabs and he would also slip some of them, but his footwork and his ability to just stay planted when Royval entered the pocket, and Royval would just leap into the pocket. His chin is incredible. Van was just hitting him with these clean counterpunching combinations. I'll just snap his head like, pop, pop. He'd be going one way and then get his head snapped in the other direction. It was almost like helping him stay up. And then in the last round, he got dropped finally. Like, he even thought the fight was over. He was like, oh God, you could tell he was getting pissed. But he thought he got stopped, but the fight was just like ended. So clearly he got hit hard there. Numerically, they landed these crazy amount of strikes where they exceeded records of the division. The fight was so good that even that Brandon Royval lost, and he got a 30-27 scorecard against him, that Dana White paid him his win money. They got fight of the night bonus. I mean, in the Sherdog Slack, we're up, and I couldn't get to the fight of the year section fast enough. Someone had already put it in there. I think it might have been Dane, and I'm hitting the like button, like, hell yeah, upvoting, whatever I can do to upvote that. This kid is going to be breakout fighter of the year. If he fucking fights Pantoja later this year and beats him, he'll be fighter of the year. Let's see what Ilia Topuria does. But like, he'll be on track to be fighter of the year. He might get my vote if he goes out there and beats Pants, because that's how high in regards I think of Pants. Now, Topuria figures out a way to pick a fight with Islam Makhachev and knocks him out this year, that will be what probably takes it. But if Van can figure out how to beat Pantoja later this year, he's going to be right up there for Fighter of the Year and Breakout Fighter of the Year. This kid's 23. I don't like how much he gets hit. I don't like that he did not body punch Royval as much as he normally body punches other people, but he's only 23. But in the third round, in a very close, I was putting in the Sherdog Slack, like some person could have scored the first 2 rounds of this fight for Royval. The second round was close. I believe Royval won the second round. I believe Josh Van won the first and the third. Sorry, there's something in my eye. But the way, with 2 minutes left in the third round, Joshua Van was like, okay, this guy is going to continue to pressure me. I have to do something to get that back. He's going to keep walking into my punches. I'm just going to oblique kick the fuck out of him. Like, I'm going to do a standing teep push kick to his knee. I'm not going to do a leg kick. So anytime Royval would step forward and throw that jab and try to plant his feet to jab, boom, he'd get his leg kick oblique. He'd kind of throw this like stutter stepping double jab into the pocket where he'd pop up and step into it, and he was get his fucking leg oblique kick. And that was like deep into the third round where he made that adjustment, which is really, really awesome. So it shows me that he's making those adjustments. He's now winning first rounds, like I said in the preview for this, where Van is able to make his reads in 2 minutes instead of 5. He used to lose the first round always. And if this was the old Joshua Van a year ago, he would have lost his first round and lost his fight probably. The future of this division is pretty bright. I think, Joshua Van, he even said in the post-fight, like, I want this title fight next. I don't even know if he's ready for it, but shit, he might be. He's only 23. He said, I want to be in the crowd for this fight, and if Pantoja wins, bring me in there. I want to do a face-off. And I mean, Joe Rogan was going buck wild, calling in fucking anyone. Like, if you're on the roster and you're in the crowd, Joe Rogan's gonna match make for you that night. But in all reality, they brought in Joshua Van. They faced off. This one seems a little more serious than the Patty one. The Patty one seemed like a little bit of a mishap. Dana even said that he didn't think it was a good idea. I don't think he came out and basically said after that it wasn't because he didn't love the fight, I guess, but it was more of like Topuria's wife and kids were in there, and there was like children and other, women and other people from the camp where like he just didn't want to subject them to potential blowout. We've seen the Strike Force issue. We've seen the Team Habib issue with Connor. So I think he was just, bad shit's happened. So he was like, that's not a good idea. But for this division, like, he was ranked number 12. He just beat the number 1 ranked dude in the division, Brandon Royval. Brandon Royval has had a really close fight with Pantoja. He beat Brandon Moreno. Like, there's this dude. Pantoja's cleaned out the division. So the future of this division could potentially be very, very bright. And the future seems to be Joshua Van. Royval, I think, is a very underrated dude as well. I think he could stick around and do some more stuff here. And especially if Van beats Pantoja and Royval can go out there and just like knock out an Amir Albazi or like knock out KKF in a rematch or something. He could. I would totally watch Royval versus Van in a 5-round fight. What I loved about Van in this fight too is he is so many MMA fighters are just not comfortable boxing in the pocket like a Joshua Van or like an Ilia Topuria, where they know that they just don't have, technical defensive abilities, but like Joshua Van just thrives in the fire. Like, you can tell he trains to be in those positions like that. In the fire is where he wants to be. So like the fight that he had with Royval, like that is the fight that Joshua Van always wants to have. So if you're not a Joshua Van fan, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, fucking start now, please, for your own good. But the future of this division again is even if Joshua Van loses this fight, this could be like a Henry Cejudo first fight with Demetrius Johnson, where this like lights a fire under this dude. But he's not big for the division, so I could see him probably making this weight for another 5 or 6 years. Holy shit, Josh Van's fucking awesome. Shout out to Brandon Royval. Too many Brandons in this division. Brandon Royval for an incredible fight as well. He deserved his win money, even though he did win. And that is the show, guys. Kind of short this week. Week off, 4th of July. If you're an American and you're listening to the show, happy Independence Day. It will be be a good one. Stay safe. Call an Uber. Do all the right things. If you are in the UK, this is how we got our independence. So, haha, I'm kidding. I really appreciate you guys all for listening to the show. And I will have something up for I'll probably have something up for the Glover Teixeira fight. We're in the slogs again, guys. We're June was a good month, but we're back in the trenches, boys.